Let me tell you something most people never say out loud. Nobody is truly your friend. It sounds rough, doesn't it? But it's the truth. Especially when you're trying to build something, when you're struggling, when you're starting to rise. At the beginning, everyone will smile at you, cheer for your dreams, and tell you you've got this. But as soon as you begin to level up, as you start doing better than them, watch how fast things change. Suddenly, there's silence. Jealousy creeps in. Doubt appears. Distance grows. I remember when I was just getting started, I believed my friends would have my back. I thought they'd be proud of me and stay supportive. And yes, a few did, but only for a while. When it came time for tough choices, real sacrifices, and serious dedication, most of them vanished. Why? Because they weren't truly there for me. They were there for what they could gain. Let's face it. Friendship fades fast when personal interest gets in the way. It's easy to be close when nothing's on the line. But when your progress makes others uncomfortable, you suddenly become a threat. So what do? You stop expecting people to be your support system. You stop depending on others to believe in you. You stop chasing approval. Instead, you start believing in yourself. Build a solid team. Form strong partnerships. But keep your eyes wide open. True loyalty shows itself when you're losing, and even more when you're winning. You might think people support your dreams out of love. No, they support results. If your vision brings success, they'll come running. But if you stumble, they'll walk away. This isn't negativity. It's the truth of how business works. And strangely enough, it's also freeing. Because once you understand that no one's really your friend, you stop needing their praise. You focus on your mission. You make wiser choices. You become a serious threat, not because you're heartless, but because you've gained clarity. So next time you feel isolated on your path, remind yourself, nobody's truly your friend, and that's exactly how champions are made. In the business world, the reality is this. Emotions can destroy what clear thinking builds. When you start making decisions based on how you feel rather than what's smart, you're setting yourself up for failure. It doesn't matter how passionate you are, or how loyal someone has been, or how much history you share. If emotions are behind the wheel, you're heading for a crash. Business isn't personal. It's about value, it's about timing, performance, and leverage. Once you let emotions slip into your process, you're giving power to things that have no place in smart decision making. You'll hire someone because they're your buddy, keep an underperformer around because they've been with you from day one, refuse to let someone go because they try hard even when but none of that pays the bills, none of that helps you scale. You might say, but I care about my people. That's great, you should. But business doesn't care about feelings. The market won't slow down just because you're a nice person. Your competitors won't ease up because you're being sentimental. The moment you lose your edge, someone else takes your spot. Most people don't understand how expensive emotional decisions can be until it's too late. They feel guilty cutting costs. They let pride stop them from shifting direction. They hang on to draining partnerships out of emotional loyalty. At the time, they don't even think of these as mistakes. They think they're being loyal, human. But 6 months later, when the money's gone or a big opportunity slips away, that's when they realize they made a big mistake. Being emotional doesn't mean you're weak, but making business choices based on emotion makes you vulnerable. Emotions make you react instead of plan. They make you hold on when you should let go, trust when you should be cautious, hope when you should act. A founder once said, I didn't fire my co-founder even though he was dragging the company down because we were best friends. By the time he acted, it was too late. The company had lost investors, missed deadlines, and nearly collapsed. Why? Because he mixed friendship with accountability. The market didn't care they were close. Customers didn't care that it was personal. What mattered was the outcome, and they failed to deliver. This happens all the time. People think loyalty equals performance. They assume wanting to win means someone's capable of winning. They avoid conflict thinking it's kindness, but really they're just putting off a decision that needs to happen. Emotional leaders usually make poor choices, not because they're bad, but because they've never learned how to separate their heart from the goal. In a negotiation, if you get angry, you lose your power. If you get too eager, you show weakness. If you let your feelings decide pricing, deadlines, or who to work with, the other side will take full advantage. Business is a game of leverage. Emotions take that leverage away faster than anything else. Ask yourself, do you want to be liked or do you want to win? Because often you can't have both. Being respected in business means making hard decisions, letting go of good people who aren't the right fit, turning down tempting but risky deals, walking away from people you once saw as family. Yes, those choices hurt, but they protect your future. It doesn't mean you have to be heartless. It means you need emotional control, know when to feel and when to decide. Business rewards clear minds, not confusion. The clearer your thinking, the better your judgment. Emotions cloud that judgment. They mess with your view of risk. They hide red flags. They make you hold on to something that's already failed. They make you chase things you should avoid. They delay actions that need to happen now. Most of us grow up believing friendships are forever. Loyalty, support, trust, it sounds perfect. But step into the business world and that idea gets tested very quickly. Once money, power, or recognition enters the scene, friendships start to shift. They bend, they crack, and often they break. Not because people are bad, but because their interests shift. And when that happens, people shift with them. You can grow up with someone, be broke with them, even build a business together, but once your goals no longer match, tension starts building. It's not about feelings anymore. It's about structure, position, goals, and power. Here's what many don't get. Alignment is everything. Two people can be friends for a decade, but if one wants to move fast and the other wants to take it slow, it won't work. If one wants to reinvest and the other wants to take profits, it won't last. You'll feel it first in small ways. One starts making choices without asking. One wants more control, more credit, more money. Suddenly, things feel different. Meetings grow colder, communication slows, and you realize you're no longer aligned, not in values, not in drive, not in vision. At first, you tell yourself it's fixable. We've known each other forever. We'll figure it out. But business has no memory. It only rewards execution and alignment. If you try to force it just to save the friendship, you'll lose both, the business and the friendship. And here's the part nobody mentions. When interests break apart, people will justify anything. The same person who once supported you will say, I deserve more, or you changed, or I did all the real work. Maybe they're right. Maybe you did change. But that's not the point. The point is, when interests no longer match, even your best memories can't save the relationship. This happens with co-founders, with longtime employees, with close friends. At some point, one of you wants more, less work, more cash, a faster exit, a bigger title. That's when you realize it was never just about friendship. It was about what that friendship offered. And once that value disappears, so do they. Some don't leave. They stay and play quiet politics. They withhold, sabotage, stop contributing. You sit there thinking, but we were friends. No, you were friends until the goals split. Friendship is easy when there's no pressure. But when it's time to make tough decisions, who's the CEO, who gets equity, who takes charge, that's when the truth comes out. People show their real selves when they feel their position is at risk. That's why smart entrepreneurs protect the company first. They don't blur roles without structure. They document everything, even with friends. They know rules and boundaries protect relationships better than trust ever can. Because when things go wrong, only one thing can keep it together. Clarity, not feelings, not memories, not friendship, just clear expectations and agreements. You'll hear these stories all the time. Best friends turned enemies, business partners who haven't spoken in years, lawsuits between people who once built everything together. Not because they were fake, but because no one was prepared when alignment broke. And that's the business truth most people never see coming. These aren't rare cases. They happen often. The main reason is usually the same. Interests change, and nobody was brave enough to admit it early. Instead of talking it out, they avoided the issue. They let it grow into something worse, and when it finally exploded, the friendship couldn't survive the damage. This isn't about holding a grudge. It's just how things work. And this system doesn't care how close you used to be. When everything starts falling apart, and it will at some point, most people start looking for someone to save them. They reach out to friends, they blame bad luck, they hope someone will come with advice, money, or a quick fix. But here's the truth. In life and business, nobody owes you a rescue. Nobody's lying awake thinking about how to fix your mess. That's your responsibility. You are your own backup plan. The sooner you realize that nobody is coming, the sooner you'll get stronger. This isn't about being negative, it's about being tough. It's about building a mindset where your survival, your success, and your comeback are all in your control. Not your parents, not your friends, not your mentors, just yours. People will say they've got your back, sometimes they mean it. But when life gets real, when money is tight, when failure is near, when it gets uncomfortable, they often vanish. Not because they dislike you, but because they have their own problems, their own worries, their own fires to put out. And if helping you puts them at risk, they'll protect themselves first. That's not betrayal, that's human nature. So stop depending on others to be your safety net. Don't assume someone will step in when things get tough. Build skills, build emotional strength, build the discipline to handle things on your own. If your business fails, learn how to restart it. If a deal falls through, learn how to create a new one. If someone you trusted lets you down, keep moving without needing their help. People like to say they have a plan A and a plan B, but for most, plan B is just hoping someone else steps in. That's not a plan, that's just wishful thinking. Your plan B should be you, your creativity, your flexibility, your ability to figure things out when everything falls apart. There will be times when you feel left behind. People won't answer your messages. Investors will pull out. Friends will suddenly be unavailable. In those moments, all you'll have is what you know and what you believe. Your knowledge, your determination, your ability to think clearly in chaos. That's why you can't afford to be emotionally weak. You have to become your own support system before expecting others to help. Even when others do show up to help, when they give advice or support, be thankful, but don't become dependent. Because help is temporary. Motivation from others is temporary. The only thing that truly keeps you going, the real power behind your growth and recovery, is always inside of you. At the end of the day, the only person who's always going to be with you is you. People love talking about teams, partners, and mentors, and those things do matter, but only after you've already built yourself up. Only when you're strong by yourself. A team works best when every person can stand alone. A partner adds value when you're not relying on them to do everything. A mentor helps when you're already taking action, not when you're sitting around waiting for advice. The world doesn't owe you support. It rewards people who first support themselves. You have to be your own motivator when no one believes in you, your own problem solver when plans fall apart, your own cheerleader when it gets quiet. No one can do the inner work for you. No one can train your mind for you. No one can bounce back for you. Only you can. Too many people waste years waiting for a helping hand that never arrives. They wait for the perfect moment, the right partner, the important phone call. But time doesn't pause while you wait. It moves forward. People move forward. Opportunities pass by. And if you're not ready to move forward alone, you'll get left behind. One of the biggest mistakes people make, especially in business, is assuming trust is automatic. They think that because someone smiles or shares similar goals, that person is trustworthy. But trust isn't a free gift. It's not based on how long you've known someone, their job title, or even shared history. Trust is earned through consistent actions, results, and how someone behaves under stress. You don't trust people because they say the right things. You trust them because they do the right things, especially when nobody's watching. In business, words are cheap, promises are easy to make, but none of that means anything without follow-through. Everyone sounds great when things are easy. Everyone has good values in the beginning. But the real test comes when money is at stake, when the decisions are difficult, when the situation changes. People often get caught off guard because they trusted too quickly. A business partner talks big but disappears when it's time to act. A new employee gives a great interview but delivers excuses instead of work. An investor says they're committed, then leaves the moment numbers drop. And people say, "But I trusted them." That's the issue. You trusted too fast. Trust isn't something you hand out just because you like someone. It's not a gift. It's like currency. You have to earn it. Watch how people behave. Look at their habits. See how they act under pressure. Give them small tasks first and see what they do. Then slowly give more as they prove themselves. Even in long relationships, trust must be maintained. Just because someone was loyal last year doesn't mean they still are. Just because someone did the right thing once doesn't mean they always will. People change, their motives change. Stress reveals who they really are. Smart leaders are always paying attention, not because they're paranoid, but because they've learned the hard way. Blind trust isn't strength, it's a weakness. It makes you vulnerable. It's how people lose control of their businesses, miss deals, and lose momentum. They trusted someone based on feelings, not facts. You don't have to become cold or distrustful, just be clear. Clear that trust is something earned. And the same goes for you. If you want others to trust you, don't just say you're reliable, prove it. Show up early. Do what you promised. Handle conflict without drama. Admit your mistakes. That's how trust works. It's mutual. Think of trust like a credit score. No one gives a loan without checking your history. In business, trust is your record. It doesn't matter what you say. It matters what you've done. Can you be trusted when things get hard? Can you be counted on when nobody's watching? That's what matters. Too many people assume trust is transferable. They think, my friend trusts this person, so I can too. That's dangerous. Just because someone came with a good reference doesn't mean they've earned your trust. You still have to test them, still have to evaluate them. Otherwise, you're not managing risk, you're just guessing. Even inside teams, even among people you've known for years, trust isn't automatic. The moment you stop watching, people cut corners. The second you stop checking, quality drops. The best environments are built on clear expectations, not blind faith. People perform better when they know their work matters, that someone's watching, that there's a standard. When trust is earned the right way, it's powerful. It speeds things up. It builds loyalty. But when you skip that process and assume trust, you're not building a team. You're setting yourself up for problems. When you decide to chase something big, when you choose to grow, lead, or break the mold, you quickly learn something that's rarely discussed. It gets lonely. Not because people dislike you, and not because you're pushing others away on purpose, but because the higher you go, the fewer people understand what you're carrying. Everyone wants success, but they don't talk about the quiet moments that come with it, the late nights when you're still working and everyone else is done, the choices you must make alone because no one else sees what you see, the things you can't say because those around you don't share your urgency, your hunger, your vision. At first, everyone is supportive. Friends cheer for you. Family encourages you. You have people to talk to. But once your pace picks up, they start to drift. You're working while they're relaxing. You're saving while they're spending. You're changing while they stay the same. Slowly, your path separates from theirs, not out of ego, but because your direction demands it. There's not much room for extra passengers. People don't often talk about what growth costs. The birthdays you miss, the weekends you give up, the connections that fade because you no longer fit in those conversations. You start to feel like no one gets you, not because you think you're better, but because your path is different. You see things others don't. You avoid what they still chase, and so the gap grows. It gets lonely when you can't share your struggles without being told to slow down. It gets lonely when you can't celebrate your wins without someone calling it luck. It gets lonely when you outgrow your circle and haven't yet found your new one. And that's where many people stop. Not because they failed, but because the loneliness was too much. The climb separates you. It puts you in rooms where you're the newest, the least connected, the least understood. You pitch your vision and get blank stares. You lead people who don't see what you see. You stay strong even when you don't know what's next. This is the part nobody claps for. The part without applause, just silence, self-doubt, and pressure to keep moving when everything is unclear. And still, you keep climbing, not because you enjoy being alone, but because the goal matters more than comfort. Because stopping would mean giving up on what you started. Most people don't quit because it's too hard. They quit because it's too lonely. They miss being understood. They miss the ease of familiar people. They miss feeling like they belong. So they slow down. They shrink their dreams. They settle just to feel a bit less alone. And they call it maturity, balance, peace. But deep down, they know they stopped climbing. You'll lose people along the way. Some will leave. Some you'll have to leave behind. Some will fade without warning. It will hurt. But every level of growth needs a new version of you. And not everyone is meant to meet that version. Growth needs space. Growth needs silence. Growth requires you to face parts of yourself that only show up when you're alone. No one tells you how heavy it feels to carry the dream, make the sacrifices, take the risks, and still keep going while others watch. Some days you'll want to quit, but that's part of the journey. As you rise, the air gets thinner, the road gets quieter, and the path gets smaller. And in the end, the journey is yours alone. People will walk with you when it's easy, but the moment your path makes them uncomfortable, they'll choose themselves. That doesn't make them bad, it just makes them human. In life and business and anything that matters, relationships are fragile. Feelings, trust, loyalty, these are powerful but not forever. When goals clash, when money's involved, when decisions get tough, that's when real character is revealed. On the table, when everything starts falling apart, you'll realize fast that no one is really your friend unless they also gain something from it. That's why you have to build carefully with your eyes open and expectations kept low. Respect others, work together, lead with honesty, but never believe that anyone is supposed to be loyal to you. Trust needs to be earned again and again. Interests need to match regularly, and if they don't be prepared to stand on your own emotionally, mentally, and financially, your strength is your real teammate. Your self-control is your true backup. Your clear thinking is your real guide. Everything else can change when situations turn bad. It won't be your network, your business partner, or old buddies who come to the rescue. It will be the version of yourself who got ready for the moment when no one else was there.